What's up, everyone? Welcome to Toxic Hustle. My name is TrajicK Jeffrey. This is HustleUp, episode 15. We're going to be talking about some of the updates that's going on in the world around us, updates to what we see financially with jobs and businesses. Also, we're going to start talking about crypto winter. We're going to keep hammering that crypto winter is upon us. But yeah, lab updates, we talk about some layoffs and get some real talk. As you can see, I always put a little something in the images that we have, and you'll see April 2028 for those of you that are not watching it directly or you're listening. I have on the screen an image where AI is talking to Bitcoin, and they have a business plan, and it's scheduled for April 2028. That's the big timeline. What does that mean? That is the next halving cycle. It is the next opportunity to see the financial shift digitally. It's the next opportunity where Bitcoin reduces how much it makes per transaction. And we have to have a come to Jesus moment with where is the economy going to be at that time? What's going to be going on in 2028, and how do we get prepared for the next cyclical technical run? Because if we look at this as it being technology runs in cycles, and this is the first investment cycle with technology where we're using finances, our energy, to be able to earn financial gain off of it. Like, how do we build the whole gig economy? And what we're seeing in crypto, same. This is the first time where we're seeing where you can invest. And yes, there's been a lot of scams and everything else, but what happens when businesses become transparent with how they do business, how they leverage themselves, the reduction of leverage because they come up with their own financial ways to stabilize themselves, the products that they sell. And we're looking at a different type of business. What happens when you're investing in a micro media? Smaller media companies. That's what we're going to get into with a whole lot of positivity where I show you where these jobs are going, how they're coming right back home to wherever you are. Yet if they've outsourced everything, it's got to come back, but it's not coming back at a higher price. You're now going to have to leverage. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about that, and stay tuned. Didn't talk about this earlier, but today is October 10th, 2025. We are in the evening. It's about 6 o'clock. And we're watching Bitcoin on the weekly in USD. So this is BTC USD, as you can see here. This is the season of Bitcoin. This is where I track zones of volatility to the downside for the most part. I'm starting to look for volatility to the upside. Where are the pumps coming in? But I don't speculate on them too much. I expect a pump to come in for the last gasp of this market, and we can go back in time. So let's look at where it is. So this is not some mystical, magical thing that I'm doing. I want you to see this, which is, let's go to, if you look at the bottom down here, you'll notice as I move here, you'll see the dates. And we're on the weekly. So right here is a down week. I don't really count it as a major down week. It's surprising that there's a big dip, and I haven't called it. 1, 2, we say 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm not even within 3 for a dip. But let's just see this pump, right? So this is the first week of October. That's the last week of September. So 1, 2, second week. So the second week of October, I'm calling for a pump. Why? Am I being mystical? No. I go back in time, and now you see we're going back to the last halving cycle, 2020. During that cycle, we went up. There's all the way from 20 to 21. See, 21, you have that run up. So that would be what we're going through right now. And then right around April, you're actually at the top of the market in April. Then right around May, you dip. But look at this. You go right back where? By October, you're going right back to where it was in April. So you get to a place after you bought low, you sell at a place, you let it fall back, you enter a place, you let it ride back up, you sell at a place as you watch it fall back down. Where do you see right there? There's a big purple mark right there. Where is it? It's November. 1, 2. Boom. Where is this run up? September, October. First week, second week. I'm saying in this zone, expect a pump up. We go back. Backside of a halving cycle. Right here, September, October, first week of October, second week of October. Pump. And you get a little bit of a pump up here, all the way to November. So you'll have October, the third week of October, 1, 2, 3, 4. So wait, hold on, sorry. 1, 2, second week, 3, 4. You get a little pump going up the last week of November, October, the first week of November. Second, so 1, 2, second week of October, pump. And then we're saying around November, dip. December, dip. January, dip. Let's verify that in the past. Here we are. The back end, 2021, if you're looking down here at the bottom, 2021. That was 2020 was the halving cycle. 2021 is your run-up. 2024 was the halving cycle. 2025 is our run-up. November, dip. December, right here, dip. January, dip. January dips. So there's our 3 the hard way right there, which actually could be 4 the hard way because it seems to be right on a double dip in January. Here's our 3 the hard way, our November dip, our December dip, our January dip, and we said that there's at the 4th week of January, potentially another dip. And these are all potentialities. This is all potential. But this potential has been consistent since 2017, since I started noticing it. So it's not that I'm coming out of left field with this. I'm looking at the past, and there's like, oh, the past performance is not indicative of future. Yeah, that doesn't work here. The reason why that doesn't work here is the computer has a halving cycle. This system has a system inside of itself that is systemically doing something. And the act of it changing its financial constructs means speculation happens in the same cyclical pattern with it. And that it understands, and there's computers that are trading on this. So understand, there have been computers since 2012 trading specifically in certain zones and doing things specifically in those zones. And it's baked in because it becomes a reaffirming condition. It's going to now happen because these systems make it so. And we can't forget that that's all this is now. It is, before AI and all that other stuff, it's algorithms. We're making, algorithms, and it's a new upgraded version of an algorithm. It's now you have access to the same algorithms they've been using against us for a millennia at this point. Right? Since the beginning of birth of social media, they've been using algorithms against us, taking data and being able to use the data to do whatever they need to. That happens in trading all the time. The difference with the stock market is there's so many legacy ways that certain types of insincere business owners, which we see inside crypto, you see the pump and dumps. I'm looking, and I tell y'all all the time, buy Bitcoin, you can buy Ethereum if you want, but it's pretty much Bitcoin. Just buy the one asset. I know that seems extremely boring, but you buy the ocean. You don't buy a tributary to the side of the ocean. Bitcoin controls the flood up and down. And when companies need to exit out of the largest share that has the most amount of capital, it's Bitcoin that controls the capital. Yes, you can speculate all over the place. I've done it every season except for this one. I actually I did do it this one. I did speculate early in the beginning, and I did all right with it. Why? I bought extremely low, and I sold pretty much at the top. You buy low, sell high. Whatever asset's going to be, as long as the bank is saying, okay, you can use this asset to be able to gain or sell or whatever, that's what you're going to do. What am I going to be using crypto for in the future? I believe I'm going to be buying compute. I'm going to be selling compute. As I build my own machines, I'll sell the compute back to the grid. We'll be selling compute, most likely to other AIs looking for cheap compute. So how do you do that? What does that look like? This is digital cycle. This crypto cycle, which, as I've shown y'all with our purple lines, we're already at the top. And where did it break? If you look at the video, the last video I did, 14, look at episode 14. I say something in there where I'm like, hey, we're going to have to see where this goes. But I think that with this purple line, it's the best. Between this right here is your best opportunity to get out. It's been that way since all the way back in July. You've been at the top since July. It hasn't moved. This has not been special. Why have I not been focused on crypto this entire cycle? Why do you not see videos from me? Because I've been focusing on where the energy is going. Crypto is just something that you can invest in if you have the capitalization for it. If you have liquidity, 5% of your liquidity that you just want to offload into something speculative, Bitcoin. All day, every day. But I don't want you buying it at premium prices. That's just me being honest. Like I tell y'all, and I say it for free, i.e. videos like this. And I say, hey, you know you're at the top already, right? But there's potentially a pump next week. If you do not see the pump by next week, get out of if you don't see it by right here, by October 25th, before Halloween, if you do not see it before All Hallows Eve, get out. Red moon rising, son. Get out. Be fruitful and leave the plane. Because after this, boom, 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 3 the hard way with no capitalization. Why do you think it's going to play out this way? I'll tell you. It's going to play out this way because there is no money. 2021, we go back in time. Right here in 2021, we were at the top. We didn't get any higher. I couldn't understand why we weren't going to the 100,000 zone. And what I didn't realize was there was no more checks after September. This run up was the last of the checks being distributed. Where people thought, no, another round of checks will come. Right here. But they never did. Fail. With the purple showing up, halving. The crypto winter, halving's over. The halving cycle ends on this date. It's over. It sells off from there and goes down and continues to sell off. This is all the way into June of 2022. It's selling off. Then you potentially get to a bottom. You'll still get a small sell-off, which it did down here. That November dip, you still get a little sell-off. And then January, and then all of a sudden, we start running back up. The same thing's going to happen. After this January, we'll start running back up. This should be, if we're down here by 94, even if it goes down further the next following year, it's trading channels. Sideway trading. We'll be riding channels. That's one of the reasons why we're building certain things out. I'll be talking about that closer to the end of the video. But too long don't read, or too long didn't want to listen. Here's pretty much the money shot for you. Here's your end all be all. You've got a pump potentially happening October with the week of the 13th. So next week, we have a potential pump up. October 25th, week of October 25th. You have another pump up. Potentially, as far as it's in this zone, you're looking for it to pump up. If it does not happen by the end of this week here, by the week of the 27th, get out of Dodge. Sell. Not financial advice, but I'm saying, if you listened to me in 2021, you were happy. If you listened to me in 2016, you weren't so happy, because I thought the market was going to continue to go up. I didn't understand the cycles until 2017. I did that was finally at the base end of a cycle, then having to wait till the next halving cycle. And you could think, oh, I'm going to sell out. But it's like, wait, no, what if this is the pattern? I've already seen the pattern. What if this continues to be the pattern? And I've been very vocal about it. I've been saying, hey, you know what? These computers are doing this. And even if you tell the computer not to do it, or you want to control your computers to not follow that trend and that pattern, it's baked in to other systems seeing the same patterns, finding the same zones that have the greatest depth of weakness. I'm actually working on an algorithm for that. The Seasons of Bitcoin, which will be available for premium members. So this is where we are with crypto winter. Get ready. I'll continue to talk about this as we go and see where we are, but use these videos to be able to keep, even to validate what I'm saying. Look at the last video, what I said. I believe we struck where I said, and right now we're doing what is happening. I said, hey, there's potentials that we're, right now we're going to potentially go into a run-up. Maybe it dies out and doesn't do the run-up. Maybe it only goes back up to this line. Once you're in this pocket, if it gets back inside this pocket, go. It is tried multiple times to get past. It's one, it'll be two, and the third knock against this door to run up will fail because of where you are in the cycle. If we were earlier in the cycle, I say, oh, there's always potential. But I'm also going to give you more data as to why this isn't going to work. In fact, let's go ahead and move on past crypto, and let's get into the rest of why this is not going to play. This is going to play out. It's not going to run up, and I'm going to show you why it's not going to run up. So let's talk about the change that's happening in tech, so we can reaffirm where we think the market as a whole is going. So the first thing that I feel we're going to see is an acceleration of layoffs. I believe we'll see a higher acceleration of it during the holiday season, because that's typically when they do lay off. If they don't, there's no cash flow through the fall. Investors are not investing. They're not giving you any real money. And the person that should be giving you the last bit of their change are going to be, there's two major financial outputs. There's being able to get money from a major corporation, because now by the end of the year, they've got to get rid of their funding, or next year, if they didn't use the funding, they lose the funding. And then the same thing happens with the second person or the second entity, and that's going to be the government. But what's going on in the government right now? The hugest, largest, immensest virtue signal on the planet is happening. The government is actually downsizing. Many economists, many financial analysts have been saying for over 10 years that the government needs to downsize. But nothing has happened. Well, here we are. The government is now downsizing, but the government is the greatest spender. So if they're the greatest spender and they're downsizing, it means that there's no capital, there's fear coming out of the government in spending. Because what are they doing? They are reducing the expenditures. Well, that has a ripple effect. Why? Corporations are also tied to the government. So if you are downsizing your own internal staffing, then you might be downsizing contracts, like contracts with me as a company. Well, if you're downsizing contracts with me, well, I need to downsize too, because part of the funding I was betting on was my government contracts. Not me personally, because I have none. But this is what bigger corporations do. I ran government contracts for a national company. So at the end of the year, if the government isn't spending and the corporations that are relying on that government funding to spend aren't getting the funding, then there's no funding. We've seen this a couple times. Well, if you're old enough or if you're wise enough to research history. If you're looking at his story, you'll see, oh, there's been times where the economy is shifting to a new technology and or there's a downsizing of the old ways of doing things because they're being forced into a new transition of a new standardized economy. Because systems long for efficiency. And the best systems are more efficient. That's just the law. So what we're noticing is the cost reduction that's happening is going to not only affect the tech world at large, but the largest narrative of the tech world, which is AI. We're watching a company invest in another company that are all tied to the same technology, but just because of hype and everybody believing a narrative, they believe that the stock will go up only because they're investing in each other in a technology that needs to be able to go into businesses. And as long as it hallucinates and can corrupt my actual good data, it is a liability. And companies that are making that move based off of the news they're seeing now, which is being paid for by the lobbyists that are trying to push an AI agenda. Now, don't get me wrong. I talk about AI a lot. I'm using it for everything. But I've figured out where it works to be viable as a capitalized thing. How do I turn this AI into some way for me to make a living on or to have some type of earnings come from? And it's traditional. You're doing design and you're just selling designs to people who don't want to do designs. Or you're selling music to people who don't want to take time to produce. They're like, look, I don't feel like doing that. That's a good track. I want it. Just buy it and let me just write a song to it. I've been that dude. I've done it myself where I don't want to produce the damn track. Hey, this sound over here sounds good enough for the feeling I'm trying to get off of my shoulders. Boom, let me just use this song. I did it with 2 albums because efficiency matters. So this bubble that AI is going through is going to pop. Meantime, between time, back in the day, we had, and there still is, something called the intranet. Corporations wanted their own internal internet that they can block out the rest of the world from, and they can just do their business behind the scenes. Governments were doing it, using it. You just create your own network, and you had your own virtual login to log in, your own virtual private network. You could log in from the outside into it, but it took software and configurations and security measures. But once you were in, you could work from wherever. The intranet they thought would be a bigger thing than what it is. The internet actually won because the system doesn't like restrictions. Businesses do. Companies do. They like their walled gardens. Don't get me wrong. We have at TrajicK Labs a walled garden, but that is to do actual work like a corporation. No, it works for what it works for, but it's not to be the mainstream. It's just something you need to do to be able to organize your own energy. So if you think of the intranet, the internal internet that a company uses, to the internet, the one that you use just to go onto your TikTok or your Facebook or to go on LinkedIn or to go on YouTube, to listen to your Spotify. The internet became generalized. Everybody can do it for whatever they want to use it for. Where the intranet is, we only want the people that know how to get through our wall and our security legally through software to be able to utilize our systems. Specialized. That's very specialized. Well, just like generalized internet, general AI will beat specialized AI. Just like what's happening in the job market. As a designer like me, I can design graphics, I can design websites, I can design marketing campaigns, I can design marketing material, because I've generalized my graphic design work to not be, I can just do stuff for this one industry over here of Hollywood, or this one industry over here of music, and this only specific thing of doing CD covers. Now, to be able to survive, I have to be able to do multiple work. And because I can do multiple work, people see the work that I'm doing from clientele and come directly to me and say, hey, I saw the work that you did over here. I want the same work from you. Actually, I want you to do da-da-da-da-da. Probably only a 5% twist because nobody's doing anything different. Now, think of how many people are going to school for a very specialized, specific art, and when they go into a corporate environment, they see the deadening that, just go to a stock site and grab some stock images. No, you're not going to go take a photography. We're not going to set up a photography shoot for this. No, that costs too much money. No, just go get some stock photography. Use your photography degree to pick the good pictures. Or if you can design the picture and you can do it very cheap and fast, then cool. I'll use you for that too. That's how I felt in every corporation I went to. But I was doing my own work outside of them. I had my own clients outside of them. So gig work, right now what you're seeing is the new boot camp for what's going to happen with being a gig agency, where you're doing multiple work for multiple people, doing multiple things. You might do Amazon delivery, you might have to do food delivery. You're doing all these different delivery jobs or different driving jobs, or you have a main job and you're still doing that on the side. See, you're still doing a different gig. That is the future digitally. The resistance has been they didn't factor in the collapse of commercial real estate and everything tied to it. They didn't think it was going to collapse as fast as it did. But if you really put it onto the front of your mind that this is boot camp, this gig thing is a boot camp to say I can have to do multiple gigs online. Well, my goal for Toxic Hustle is how do I create multiple instances where there's work available? That's what Toxic Hustle's working on. The reason why I'm beginning to train y'all now, and I needed to create an environment for that, was to be able to do this. To say, hey, I'm getting clientele, I'm working in the venture capital field. There are things that people need to in that space. people who are going after investors. There are things that they need in that space, and you can supply that work for them. And if you're not a graphic designer, I will show you what you can do to learn the tools and then the tools that you can use to get better at it. But you're still going to have to put some work in, and AI will help, but you're going to have to think a certain way, and I'm going to help you get to the thought process to get the results that you need. Not here step by step and let me give you every single thing. No, you're going to have to think creatively. I'm going to give you what you need to think creatively so that you can think out problems. You got to fix problems, and you're going to find problems that I hit maybe 5 years ago that I'm not talking about right now because I don't have those problems. A lot of those problems I'm not in anymore. Or there's problems that I'm currently focused on, and I know there's other problems I need to deal with, but I haven't gone there yet. You might hit those problems early, and you're now going to have the mind state to figure out how to get around them because they're just obstacles. They're not really problems. It's pivoting. That's the importance. It's the mind state. It's the understanding that nothing is static. Nothing that I teach you, like, oh, this is exactly what's going to happen. No. What I'm giving you is the tools to be able to start watching the picture and saying, okay, yeah, I'm in my work world, but I can look at this other world in finance and in the economy, and I can see what's coming here, and I can position with the tech that's here to be able to offer these things here to these people who have money, who have access to capital. That's the goal. So what is the pivot? In your mind, the pivot is solve multiple problems for each of your clients. It seems more simple than it is because it's a lot of work. What I've been working on is optimizing the workload. Yes, artificial intelligence is there because, yes, I am a graphic designer. I can design a piece of artwork and it take 8 hours to do. But guess what? I won't get the job. Plus, I'm 50, y'all. You act like there's a time capsule for your age isn't going to be a hindrance. If I'm not walking into these offices as a chief technical officer or some chief of something of office, if I'm not walking in there commanding a portion of the business and taking responsibility for that portion of the business, like if I have to hire, fire, or have to automate, what I've been doing is focusing, all right, let me figure the automation side. Because the people side is going to be a problem until everything drops in price. And everything will when we're no longer running a deficit. They're running debt, credit. They're on credit. They're using up their credit card. And they've gotten it to the max. And the rest of the world is like, yo, you got to start paying some of these bills, or we're going to have to lower your credit rating. And that's what's been happening. So what we're going to do is not just talk about what changes in tech, but the other changes that are going to be major that we have to start thinking about to make these pivots actually be viable as an option. So what's the change in business? All businesses that you know of don't realize a hard truth. This is going to be something that they're going to fight against. And I know this because I worked with somebody who was on social media and I was trying to get him to understand where this was going technically, and he didn't get it. Believed I was wrong, then apologized and called me and was like, you were right, but then didn't want to pay me what I weigh. Why? Because he honestly did not believe what I was telling him. I said back then, and I've been saying it since 2013, all businesses will be media companies. Even if they are minor media companies, they're going to be media companies. And here's the big kicker. They don't see the change coming. And they don't understand what it means for that change to happen. Like, they can say, oh, yeah, I need to be a media company. All right, now, if you need to be a media company, you're stuck on metrics. You got to put out material look at your metrics, put out more material, balance your metrics, and keep doing that over and over and over again. You're now metric driven. Your success is on metrics now. How much engagement did your content actually get? Now, you can keep putting out content and nobody could be watching it. And if a tree falls in the middle of the forest and no one's there to hear it, did it fall? No, and it doesn't matter because it's just another business that failed. You're right. Nobody gives a damn. And that's what you have to account for. You, at the end of the day, have to account for who cares. And it doesn't matter who you are. I don't give a damn what title you want to give yourself. You have to account for who cares. The biggest lesson I ever learned was taught by somebody else who didn't want to learn that lesson. If nobody cares, nobody cares. Even what I'm saying, there's going to be people like, well, I don't give a damn about that. I got a job. All right, for now, homie, we haven't even gone through the winter cycle yet. Just get ready. I'm living what I've been telling y'all since 2017. You have to have a product, subscription, or service to survive. If you get a job, you are the service. You are servicing your client. You just don't want to look at it that way. You want to treat it as a job, and you want to think that it's expected that you're supposed to be there. No, I learned it the hard way. Wait till you're 50. You're not getting none. Unless you're that viable to earn the $150,000 you're going to need to freaking survive. And if you had $100,000 job and you're like, well, no, they don't need to do nothing. The system adjusts regardless of how we feel. The system adjusts to efficiency. It doesn't care how you feel. Ask an operator who used to be there when you press 0. Ask the people that were going around emptying phones, that you used to talk to a phone on the street. You didn't have a phone in your pocket. They used to collect quarters. They were out of a job. Ask the people that were doing gumball machines all over, into every supermarket and store. But then we got digital and we stopped needing quarters. So then they just basically didn't need to be in anything, so they had to come up with other things. Ask Blockbuster, that didn't want to pivot, had the option to buy. They had the opportunity to buy Netflix and said, nah, we don't need that, because he couldn't see the tech. Engagement is all the algo gives a damn about. And all it wants is more engaging visual content. Yeah, some people will read. Yeah, some people may listen to your audio. But until you put some audio and some visuals together, ain't nobody paying attention. Really. And as it gets easier to create content, who's going to win? Is it going to be the AI slop that's soulless, that doesn't make sense, and it has all these damn synthetic mistakes? That visually it's really not looking scene by scene and trying to critique it like you would? No, it's gonna be flat, and it'll be interesting for a quick second, and then the next thing has to happen, and the next thing has to happen. But you know what never changes? A good story being important. Somebody feeling something being important. Passion and your why is what actually matters. Big feather in your cap right now is AI can't fake swag. I know. I've tried to have it be funny. It can't really be funny. It can't really touch those notes. It can write a dad joke, yeah. But how funny is that unless you put it with a Sasquatch? Or put it with this character or that character doing it, right? It has to be outside of itself. That still takes some human ingenuity to say, hey, you know what? What if we did this and this? Because all it has is the data to say what happened in the past, not what's about to happen in the future. It cannot fake swag. And swag is riding a wave, not falling behind it. It's knowing where the wave's going to be and positioning yourself to be able to catch it. So why is this important? Businesses need help. They cannot do it by themselves. They cannot see it for themselves because they have their own problems to solve. They're trying to get sales. They're trying to make budget. They're trying to figure out the next move for their product and their product line. They don't have the time to figure out, well, how do we actually sell it? Or what's going on in the world and what marketing trends are happening now that we can piggyback off. No, they want you to come in with the idea, here's what I'm doing. Here's what's going on here. Here's how I'm testing it. That's our lab. We test it on ourselves, and then I can tell my customers, hey, it gets you more visibility. You can keep spending money. That's the only other way you can do it. Or you can start figuring out, become a media company, mini media company. You have to figure out how to engage people. I didn't like doing these types of videos. I didn't even really want to do videos, but people kept asking for my opinion on things, and I figured, look, I can give it to the people that were watching and listening. Well, here's a video, and now you can share it with your friends, and they can get the same information, and all of y'all can align together to do business together. And if I'm in the same pocket and I'm saying, hey, here's where I see everything going, and you've kind of been like, oh yeah, I feel the same type of way, it gives credence to it. So I'm there as a additive to your hustle to say, hey, if you were thinking the same way I'm thinking, hey, it's okay to feel that way because it is heading this way. Here's the proof. I'll actually do the research and structure it so that you have a compelling argument. So businesses need help being visible, and they can't afford tariffs for the outsourced work. So they're raising the price of the big companies. Again, I'm not talking for big companies. Everything that sounds like, oh, this is such a pain, and it doesn't affect the largest corporations out there. In fact, they love it. They're reaping the benefits of this. It's for the smaller businesses that it makes it harder for smaller businesses to get work. Because you can't, as a smaller business, now afford the tariffs and the extra salary, but you also can't afford the salary of the people that are at the higher price point. So you're stuck. You've got a higher price point to deal with in the United States as far as the salary cap. And then you've got the salary outside of the United States, plus tariffs, plus language barriers, plus time zones, all that stuff to add on top of it. And is it worth it? Which is going to put now a hindrance on companies where they're like, well, I had a business that I was working with, but they went out of business because they couldn't get enough business. Because they couldn't lower their prices enough to be able to keep that, or they raised their prices to the point where their clients were like, well, I just can't afford you anymore. And we're seeing that in multiple industries. So it's not just product-based China warehousing distribution models that are the hardest hit by tariffs. It's the labor force and also the things that they've added. And in saying, hey, if you try to, like in the movie industry, hey, if you're outsourcing a movie, I'm going to jack the price up on the tariffs on y'all. So we're seeing it in media. What this does is, what I'm doing is reducing the expenditure that it takes to get a result. Instead of 8 hours to get a graphic, you get it in 15 minutes. Instead of a $100,000 budget to do a commercial, I'll do it for you for a couple grand. And that will include doing all this other work, which we'll talk about in the next slide. But with what you see right here, I need you to understand, I say there's a change in business. I'm also telling you they don't see the change coming. A lot of them don't see the change coming. And if you prepare right now, and what I see for spring of next year, we're going to be in a position to where preparation meets opportunity. Now, I'm taking the hardest road right now, and that's going to be media. Media is determinant and has been for how technology erodes the analog side of the business. All we have to do is look at music and see that we went from vinyl to tape to CD to enhanced CD, a little bit of DVD audio, and then boom, we're streaming. MP3s and we're done. From that point, we haven't left MP3. And every person that went to full, which is where you learn to do work in the media business, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a degree into an analog world that had already pivoted to digital. And all of these schools could do nothing but pivot late and never make the adjustment early. What we're showing you is the adjustment early. It's not about just having artificial intelligence. It's not that at all. It's about understanding how you can operate service level work for companies. Multiple companies need pretty much the same thing across the board. How do you do it more efficiently and more financially prudent? Is it scalable? Can you do this for multiple clients, reduce the price that they have to pay an employee, and now they're paying you, and even if it's for a couple grand, and you can do 7 of them on your own because most of it's automated, and you maybe have to spend an hour a day to manage all 7. You're now doing, if you're getting $1,000 per client, you're doing 7 grand. But it has to be worth that to the client. Again, it's not worth it to you. It's not what it's worth to you. I'm giving you opportunities to where there's multiple service things, but we got to look at this like a gig economy as well. It is a race to the bottom. I'm just trying to baluster that with, hey, we're trained to really look at the film and still work on it. It's not just, hey, we trust AI and go. We can give you that, but when you're noticing flaws and they can't fix those flaws, you'll be sending us that footage to fix for you. And you're spending more money that you didn't need to spend. So, offshore is coming back, but not at the price point that you think it is. Because, companies watched all the videos about people getting their lattes from 4 to 5 p.m. I'm sure the board was very happy to see how relaxed y'all were while they were spending millions of dollars on salary. To see how comfortable y'all were. And just like people say you shouldn't be putting a whole bunch of video online that you don't need online, that was one of those cases. And some of your cohorts who, if you weren't one of those people doing that, your cohorts did. And companies remember that. So those people know a good 80% of them have lost their jobs. You see that with people losing because they had a social media account and what they were saying on their social media account. We've seen plenty of layoffs for that. But with this technological shift, it's the need to re-educate yourself to prepare. And if I'm in my 50s needing to do this, and I will do this in my 60s, and I will do this in my 70s. Why? Because there is no timeline for you needing to give unto Caesar's what's Caesar's. They want to give you a dream that you can retire, but that's a dream. Like the American one is a dream. They're telling you that. Dreams don't always come true. But you can control some of these variables. It's involving you updating you. New skills mean new opportunities. Only if you're focused on solving somebody else's problem. I say solving multiple business problems, which means, hey, I have a client, I solve multiple problems for that client, like marketing text, web design, web development, marketing, distribution, making sure their posts get created to go on social media, designing videos for them, designing presentations for being able to get capital. What I said right here, that there was a change in tech, if there's layoffs still coming in, that you needed to be in a gig agency future. And when I say layoffs are in and layoffs are coming, these are all videos. I just want you to see that there are multiple videos of people talking about the fact that they've been laid off. Becoming an agency is not for everyone. That's what Toxic Hustle is working on. Those are the things I'm working on. But also, what does the software look like for you to manage your own agency? I don't want to control you. I would love for us to work together, for those of you that I'll work with, as far as on the, we're outputting work for clients, or as a client who is watching this video. I have plenty of clients that follow me. And they understand, like, hey, I'm not a BSer. I'm not going to sit there and make you feel good about yourself or your company. I'm going to help. And sometimes it's hard to hear. Like, my wife has told me before, hey, sometimes you're eluding yourself. I can tell you that companies have problems and you need to solve them, and not give you the background for what that means. Not show you. So message, watch. I want to show you what you can do for companies that offer value for them. These are things they need. Presentation creation. So companies need to get funding, or companies need to sell to a client. They're going to create a presentation, so PowerPoint. And once they create that presentation, they're going to use that to sell with it. Once you have it, you give them a template, you allow them to change it, but you help them get the structure of it, some of the slides and everything else, get the messaging down, and then you beautify it, give them a stylized template using their style guide. You hand that off to them, and you can generate, anywhere between 500 to a couple grand, depending on how big the slides are and how many hours you're going to actually spend on it. Infographic design. Infographics are graphics that can have data on them. Here's an example, or some examples of infographic. So what you can do is take some type of data and create visualizations that tell a story. So it's a different form of storyboarding. You're telling a story, like this is a coffee infographic where they're saying that if you want to invest, and they're telling people about how much coffee people drink. You can think of it as presentation slides, or even bigger infographics as a analysis of data that you make more visually appealing. Like it's saying here, big picture, a summary, explore. You can say things and talk about things all in one flyer. You can hand somebody or show on a website. And it makes it easy for a person to digest without so many words. So if you can offer this as a service so that you help your customers visualize their ideas, then you earn for that. Because again, it is solving a problem. And infographic design, flyer designs, then there's banner stands. That's these. So when they have to go to a trade show, they may need a banner. And this is the stand for a banner. It's retractable. And they'll print it, and it could be one-sided or double-sided. For their event space, have a more visual representation. And a lot of clients do this. So if you're able to offer this to your clients, right? If you're able to design it and make sure it works properly, that's one of the things I'll be showing in the premium labs, is how do you create presentations? How do you create these banner stands for your clients and offer this as work to them? Because you know what you can deliver will make them, there won't be any issues, because it will be the right it won't be blurry. It'll be crisp and clear. And as long as they have a good product from your graphics, and as long as the company prints it properly, you can help them pick the companies that you can use, which Vistaprint is the largest distributor anyway. So I would make that recommendation anyway. And of course, trade show graphics. So you can see not just you creating the stand, but you create the tablecloth. The 3 stands, you can see this is 3 stands put together side by side. Do you know how to be able to make an image go across multiple stands? This is stuff that I'll also show so that you can create these for any client. And this is premium work. If you're doing things like this and you're doing like bigger layouts like these, and you can make these stands look amazing, I'm telling you, clients will clamor to be able to work with you. So the big thing is trade shows and convention space design. As long as you can help them be able to sell themselves, you will have work solving their problems. They don't have to have a designer on staff because they can just work with you. And this way, they don't have to find work for that person to do. Now, if you are the graphic person, you need to start looking to solve business problems, marketing, any automation solutions, marketing automation, and process automation solution. Process automation means look at how you do things in your office. And can you use automation to be able to ease the frustration of doing a repetitive task over and over again? We will start with cloud automation, and I will start to show you desktop automation as we begin to implement it in our own business. But cloud automation, because that can handle your email automation chains, as well as your community marketing automation, or your community maintenance and automation. Another thing to look at is what's happening as far as a change in media is what other things that a company doesn't know that they need is really on this video end. Companies don't understand how much video means more than a static image and some text. They want to go the easiest route, which they think is hard because it took a long time to get that one piece of text done, whether it be a couple paragraphs, whether it be a blog post. It had to go through a whole chain of command to get to that finished product. But then who cares? Where's your why? Why should they care? Businesses forget that because they're just trying to get their day-to-day to justify their existence as an employee to a company owner and a board of directors. That's all most of this employment is, regardless of what their rank and file is in the company. They're just trying to justify being there another day. Companies are going to need info videos, business promo videos, so promotional videos that talk about, it's same as commercials. We just call them commercials, but in the business world, it's easier to say you need a business promo video. Because what are you selling today? What do you need to get out? We need to say that visually. We can't stop at just being a flyer because your consumers are on social media. And if they stumble across you online, you should have a commercial for that. It's no different than every other business that has a commercial that's on television. Well, the new television is YouTube. You can have a channel for free. Do you have some videos that promote your business or that explain your business? Not just be commercials. You make one commercial, but when they go to your YouTube channel, you should have a bunch of videos explaining what it is you do and how do you solve the problem and how do they get to where you need them to get into your pipeline and funnel, right? So there's your commercials / business promo videos, music videos. Producers, they need beat videos. They don't know that yet, but I'm going to make it so that in a minute, as my beat videos get videos for all of their ish, Who's not going to be behind wanting to get it done? And now they're going to see how much work that is. Yes, you can do it yourself, but is it viable and is it financially viable for you to do it? Or is it cheaper to just get it done outside? That you can solve for how many hours you have to spend trying to make this video with a process that is refined to be able to be optimized for me to get it for the lowest amount of roulette wheel spins. Because that's what generative AI is. It's like you're spinning roulette. And sometimes you hit the jackpot and sometimes you don't. But more than not, you're not hitting the jackpot. Now, the AI is getting better, but it's more expensive to work with those. So it's which companies can get the visuals that you want for the lowest amount and the fastest process time that keep your costs down. Then you've got, that's for music videos, right? And it's not just for that, the movies, video games, anime music videos, tons of music videos that can be done. Convention loop videos. What that is similar to this. For one of my clients, it was being able to create a video where it would play at the convention on loop over and over and over again. And that is just one of the services that a business needs. If they're at an event, they may have a television screen there or projector there, and they will project or play a video showing their product. So convention loop videos, definite. Animated infographics. So those infographics that I showed you earlier, what happens if the things are animating on the screen or animating onto the screen? So before, what you see is the finished infographic, it could have been animated onto the screen. The persons could have been moving, the charts could have been going in an upward motion, all little things that could have been done. That's things and touches that, again, AI isn't doing, and those manual touches still need to be done or figured out. And presentation videos. So what I'm doing is similar to a presentation video, but you could use an AI voiceover script to be able to do so. So if we look at what I just showed you now, you can see this is what a media company does. It's always what media companies have been doing, but they haven't considered themselves media companies. They've been a printing place or a graphic design. No, you're a media agency. And as an agency, you're now, before, you could be a graphic designer, but if I'm a graphic designer and a web designer and a marketer and designing your animations and doing your videography and creating a storyboard, if I'm doing all this stuff, I'm an agency. I'm a boutique, a one-stop shop, as my wife said, to getting the things that you need done. And then if there's any sticky points for my clients on, hey, my business, I've been having this problem and I think I could potentially automate it, but I'm not sure, I do consultation to help clients be able to find those sticky points, and let's get those obstacles out of their way. Because if we can get you the more growth, then you can hire more people doing the right jobs, not jobs that just need to be done because we don't know how to automate it, or we didn't even know we needed automation. Hey, I think this is systemic. We do it on a computer, but I'm just not sure. Okay, let's reduce the labor that it's doing by at least 40%. Is that okay? Not offering you an 80% change. I'm offering 40%. And it's been bigger than that. I've seen it in my own business, in certain automations that have optimized my, like, what I'm doing for clients or my wife. I've been able to cut hours down and give them service that is comparable to any media agency out there. And we're doing it for less. So why TrajicK Labs? First, what is TrajicK Labs? TrajicK Labs is our location to train and help show you exactly what businesses need, how to do it effectively, and not only give them the quality that's expected, but how you can guarantee yourself the quality that you need, that you don't have to worry if you're a quote unquote graphic designer. I'm going to show you how to do the work. Our biggest thing is future skill training. What that means is right now, what we're promoting is our business prompts. But of course, we have our lab courses, one of which is the Intro to AI Music for songwriters. Right. And you can take a look at some of the information here, but I break down how I'm using Suno and Studio One, and you can use any program that you want, how I write a song, or at least write a beat to a song that's in my head and get it out of my head. I began talking about something like this back in this 8:30, and I do have to put the September update up. But the TrajicK Labs, you're going to have things like our new blog that we're talking about what we've been working on, products we've been working on, software we've been looking at. So I'm not just giving you fluff. This is information coming straight out of our repository of data, of work that's actually been done. So we are pulling the data of our workload out, and it's explaining itself. Because I can't tell you what I do all day, but I know I'm working inside of AI all day, and all of those conversations are saved. So we have transparency into the actions of what we're doing. Now more so than we've ever had. And companies don't understand how big that's going to be. In the future, I can see a company being able to offer shares of itself in crypto. Any company can do that now, but do you see what I'm doing? I want to show transparently how we work, how we do business, and those transactions can go on a blockchain, and then we can think about where you're invested into a coin that's doing something for the business. Like, I don't want the coin to have a coin. I want that coin to be based on a coin that's doing something for the business, and I can build on that platform with my own coin, right? So a perfect example is like if we find a AI open source Bitcoin-esque cryptocurrency that allowed us to train models or put a model on there and run it via API to do business and work. Cheaper than we can do putting it on a server ourselves. If we can get to that, it might be a little slower, but I don't care if it's slower and it's cheaper. A little slowness doesn't matter. I can cushion that out. If I can get it cheaper and I'm using the top of the line models on multiple machines or my own machine, and I can run my own language models cheaper, let's go. If there's a way to make this financially viable. So everything that you're seeing is us building from within, eating our own dog food, doing what we need to do. Next thing that we've released is tools and downloads. All of the graphics that I've done working with other clients, I'm going to be offering them. As you can see, this is MG and Future inspired. This is the stuff that I did with him. Since we are no longer working on that project, and I'm not going to sell or trade on his name like that. But I did a lot of work. I did anywhere between 10 to 12 hours of editing work on all these images. I'm not going to just let that go to waste. I'm going to give it to folks. Now, I'm not going to give it away for free because people paid money for it, and I'm thankful to that. And so for that, I'm going to be giving y'all access to anybody that made a purchase of any of the graphics packs. You'll be getting an email within the next week. A, thanking them, and B, making sure that they get access to download this. So it's a special thank you for supporting Toxic Hustle while we were just trying to figure out what this looks like, right? Before we started concentrating on corporate clientele and venture capital, getting back into venture capital earlier this year. So this is while we were still trying to figure our best use cases for AI, and we made money with it. But again, it was a lot of work. But anyone that's purchased will get access to all of the files. Like I said, it's just a thank you from us. Prompts. We have our prompt library. Right now, everything is premium. As we are putting our full-fledged premium prompts in, a lot of these will all become free. You'll need to subscribe to be able to see them, but we'll be moving them down shortly as we build out these premium prompts. These premium prompts are business grade. These are things that are being used for business right now, not hyperbole, but actual use case. So we're giving you functional use case stuff that we're also trying to figure out the update to be able to update it and keep a version in control. So some of our advanced prompts will have version control on it. We're just trying to get that built in. Services are only for anybody that registered to the site. So right now, exclusive song creation is $99. It's $79 if you become a premium access member. People want funny songs written and they may not be able to do it right. I've come up with a format. I've already shown with the AI song thing, how to write the songs. I've figured out how to write my own jingles, and I've been writing songs anyway, so I'm a songwriter. So you get access to an actual songwriter, MC who knows how to throw them words around. So you can look at my Spotify and you can check the lyrical content that I have. So I know what I'm talking about. I know how to create good music. What I'm doing is offering a service to be able to help others get the songs that they want out of their head. I can help you get it out, and I can help shape it, and I can help you have a platform, a song that you can stand on and write the lyrics you want to write to, or the lyrics you've already written to, and I can help you get the idea out. The next thing will be our mixing and mastering, which again will be out this weekend as a service, as I get the recording to show you the automated way we're working with using AI to mix and master. That's how we keep our costs down, is we're leveraging technology to keep our costs down. And last but not least, if you are interested, it is $19 a month. This will give you access to discounts on services. You can register just to get access to services and access to any of the free courses that we have out, which I'm putting out a multitude of those first. And then I have 20 hours of premium content to put out. But right now, you get access to discounts on services as well as downloadable templates and tools. I'm already putting files up right now. You'll get Harlem Cyberpunk Nights, which has some cyberpunk graphic images that we designed. I need to figure a way to show all those pictures on this thing. That's going to be an update I got to do for people to see what's in the packs when I create a graphic pack. So I'll be working on that as a feature. And the biggest thing that's going to come out of premium is what you see right here. We built this using artificial intelligence. The entire site is built using AI. So everything that you see now is us being able to stylize this and get the AI to output exactly what we need. And that is going to be part of what you get with the early bird special and becoming a premium member. Again, for those of you that have already made purchases of any of our Toxic Hustle products in the last year, you will be getting premium member access as a thank you. thank you for supporting us, even while we transition from one business to another. They all were in the same plane of existence. And that is, we are a media company and we supply you with the media you need to be able to create your products, design whatever you need. And things that part of this also, I will be creating courses or videos to show you how to create scenes with any of the packs that you'll have access to. And I'll show you how to scale them up if you want to scale them up, how to work with them in Photoshop, and how to animate them inside of any of these image to video programs. And you can get a lot of mileage out of the packs that you'll get access to. A lot of mileage. But anyway, that's it for today. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me. So as I showed you, that is a future, like the TrajicK Labs is the location for future skill training. As I've shown you everything that we are working on over there and what education direction we're heading in for you to optimize your workload, this is why it's important to think about, even if you just get a free membership, it's free. You can't be free. So here's some information that we would be talking about mostly internally at TrajicK Hustle, but again, I'm not leaving anybody out in the wind. I just get more in depth, but I can give you some understanding or at least direction to go in freely. Like, all of this is free. All information is free. And I want to be able to give it to you. And again, the things that we are kind of making more premium are things that we're spending hours on and spending tons of money on. This stuff here is the byproducts of a lot of our research. That's just time, and also navigating these waters over a multitude of years, that you just get some perks from. Hey, this is life experience as well. So our business is to become a retainer for companies. Just as a company has a lawyer on retainer, so anytime that they need to have legal services, they can just call their lawyer. They're on speed dial because they paid to be on speed dial. Call retainer. I've worked with a graphic company where we were on retainer. We were a graphic design / print shop, and live entertainment would have us on retainer to do any of the graphics, the media, the work that they need for their company, flyers, banners, all of that. Whatever they needed, that we would be there to design, print, or take their internal designs and make sure it fits whatever format necessary so that it would work exactly the way they wanted it. So their designers have a design, we got to make sure it works. Even if we can't tell them, oh, no, it's just not going to work. No, we have to be able to make it fit and say, okay, well, look, if you do this, then we can get it to work. Or we just take whatever they give us and say, hey, at least if you make sure it's 300 DPI, which is dot per inch, digital print press term. As long as we have that, we can do this other thing. We can take it and make sure that it works wherever we decide to print it. We'll handle that. So just as we were taking on one company's workload doing graphics, a thing that businesses don't really look at is their internal business or their data. They're not checking to say, hey, where is all our data? And if we want to write a report, how many places do we have to go get it from? And how do we deal with pulling that together? How long does it take to get these specific reports we need every month? Like, I need this specific report. I don't know how y'all been living without this report, but I came from another place where we had this report and we found that this report was amazing to us. So, hey, where's all the data that I can use to get this report made? Oh, it's in 15, 20 different places? Okay, how long does it take you to give me this report? Because I need this report to help me do my job, but all your data is everywhere else. Now it's a project, potentially a $200,000 to $500,000 project, to be able to figure out how to get all the data for this one person who wants one report. Well, what happens when you need 3 reports or 4 reports? You have a ballooning expense of just trying to get reporting. That is over now. Because most of these platforms, because everybody moved to the cloud, most of these platforms are in the cloud, and most people have been working there. Now, if you're in an antiquated old system, that's not a negative connotation. That is, if you are in something that's old and antiquated, it needs to have some programming done to be able to get your data, whatever that is, out of that system in some type of format to be able to be used across boards. So it would be, can it give me a comma separated value file or a CSV? And that you can bring into something like Excel and make a spreadsheet out of. Now, if I have an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet, now I can hook that into automation systems. So if you can export a file and I can put it on a Windows machine, and if it exports into a particular folder, and you can do that whatever amount of cycles, so let's say once a week, you put a file into a folder, I go check it at a specific time, it should be done. I can go grab that file and put it into a database and then build reports. So since most business data is scattered, it's how do we centralize that data to put it into a database that can be used for other things? Is your analytics in a central place? Do you have a dashboard to see your business, like actually see your business? If the answer is no, you have a problem. This doesn't just happen on your data side. If you're having that problem on your data side, you most likely have it happening on your customer support side. How many people are getting emails? How many emails are actually being answered? How many people are repeating the same questions over and over but not getting a response, or the response they're getting doesn't really hit home to the question as being asked? Or how long does it take to give them the answers to the question every single time it's asked, because it changes? The person who's in charge of answering that question changes or disappears or gets laid off or quits. So now you have a knowledge hole or black hole where a question goes into the ethos and disappears. It goes into an email that nobody's there anymore. Can we take 40% of your missed messages and do something with them? Can we begin to set up your infrastructure so that if it comes in, we can actually categorize at least close to 50 to 60% of your incoming email or traffic? How do you customize your channel to be better for your clientele? This will give you better customer support, because we think of it as a hybrid approach, because we've already seen from Elon Musk with Tesla, 100% AI fails. You have to have a hybrid approach. And if we're centralizing your data, that means now you can be proactive with your data usage. This is going to help you with SEO. As SEO, search engine optimization, is dying because AI optimization is beginning to take the forefront. Then from your SEO and what's happening, what you've learned from your AI working with your business, you should be able to start pulling social media content together, which will allow you to take your winners from their data on which gets the highest engagement to be able to create video shorts that help your business. That can then help the short videos that are doing well become long videos. And what we do is media creation and begin to teach the other side of the equation, because creating is not enough. You have to be able to distribute. And if you can distribute for your clientele, that you become not only how we create, but how you calendarize and schedule to release you become the all-in-one for them. Oh, wait, you not only can maintain creating my projects, you can also make sure it gets posted on time and it's scheduled so we know it's going to be posted. Oh, this is great. Win-win. You get the client, they get work without headaches. What is this actually called now? Nobody's using this term. Toxic Hustle will be one of the first. And that'll be web properties management. Just the same ways you serve real estate property management. Well, in the virtual world, it is a web world, right? Because we're in the World Wide Web. So this is web properties management. You treat this no different than any other business because this is their luxury window for their business. People can window shop and look at their business and make a decision as to whether or not they want to do work with them. It's their silent salesman. So in web property management, what do? You plan the goals for what that site's supposed to do. Who is it talking to? What is the outcome you're expecting? Are you just looking for leads or are you selling something? So how do we get down to getting those things sold? We may have to channel the educational route with it if they do need some training. Like what I'm selling, I have to train people for. And I have to train customers to understand what I'm doing. Wait, I'm getting something cheaper, but at the same time, it's just as labor intensive, but not so physically labor intensive. It's just processing power intensive. So it's not as expensive, but it's not as cheap as I thought it was going to be. When you're looking at web property management, you're looking at planning the goals for the website or web properties, plural, because that includes their other social media accounts and everywhere they are on the web. So you have to plan the goal for whatever that location. Let's just say for now, website. So I'm looking at the website and I'm saying, all right, what is this website here for? Why do we even have this website out here? What do you want it to accomplish? What do you need it to do? Are you just looking for a referral? Somebody that might be interested in what you're looking for? You're going to get a bunch of spam over that because you need more outreach than anything else. You can have a landing page and all that good stuff, but the people that are going to find you just for SEO's sake at this point is just going to be other bots trying to sell you on, do you need AI for your company? Or do you want marketing? Or do you need outreach and all this other stuff? The same thing we're talking about now, doing your outreach. So you need a message. The message is going to be on the site, but we need to be able to break it up and design it in such a way that it can handle the marketing and distribution it needs. Your website has one story, or a landing page is talking one story to one core audience group, or a use case. So a use case could be, hey, I'm talking to business owners. Or, hey, I'm talking to people who are getting laid off and I'm saying you need to get re-educated to prepare yourself for companies who are going to want to work with people who help them solve multiple problems and know what those problems are innately. Hey, I need to get your messaging right so I can design your stuff so we can get the marketing and distribution because we need to distribute it. And I know how to build the servers to be able to set up this distro on all your social media and lower the cost that you have to do for any of these systems as a service or SaaS companies that you're spending on. And if you have X amount of accounts, you're spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to maintain through these other systems. That's going away with you. Learning that you can say these things to them. Being able to take their data and do some data analysis so that you can mark the target and make sure when you made the plan that the target that you were going in, that you marked it properly. Or if not, or if so, hey, we did hit them, it's doing well, we can scale it up, right? Or, hey, we got our target audience, but you know what, we pretty much maxed out everybody we can get out of it. I don't see it going, and we're getting another 10,000 other people who might be interested. Maybe we need to adjust our target goals and then start this plan, message, design, go right back to a cycle again. Because the goal that we do to lower our expenses and to lower what we charge our clients is we have to optimize the workload. It's not working for work's sake. It's, hey, if you need a graphic, you can get it yourself this way, or if you need a customized graphic, oh, we can do it this way and it won't cost you as much. We don't need to do a major photo shoot for it. In Toxic Hustle, we offer food photography services, and we've done menu items for clients. And this isn't the latest AI, but we still do graphics for clients. So how do you optimize your workload so that you can scale the clientele? So your clients that are coming in, how do we scale you not being able to just, or me not being able to just do one client? I can do 2 or 3. And because I can do 2 or 3, I don't have to charge you like you're my only money coming in. But at the same time, I refuse to have a reduction in my quality. How do we do this? And actually the quality goes up. There's things we can do to justify what we do. The services that has launched, as we stated, is our inclusive song creation, where we're creating songs for our clients. Coming this weekend, I say coming soon, but it'll be coming after this weekend, we'll be mixing and mastering, where I show one of the songs that we created for the AI course. So if you go in here and you look at our courses and you see the free intro to AI music, this song here, I'm going to do mixing and mastering on that song. And the same way that I said in the song creation video, where, hey, I'm showing you how I make one song, it's pretty much how I'm going to be making multiple songs. I'm just showing you the workflow so you can see this is what it looks like. This is the result that comes out. I'm going to show you step by step how I build out, the mixing and the mastering. And then the next thing is video. It'll be a music video this time, but you can take the same idea from the training that comes from the music video, and I'm making one for business, which again will be exactly the same. I'm just showing you how you tweak it to just concentrate on it being more professional and corporate. But it's the same workflow for video, which is you create a script, you create a text storyboard, so you read what the storyboard's kind of going to look like and see where it's heading, which you already kind of know where that is from the script. You're just making sure it translates, and it gives you kind of the script, plus it gives you the visualization for the scenes. Here, the image storyboard is you take those visualizations that came from text, you're printing them in to get your image out, and they're making an image storyboard of this script. Then it's image to video, so that you're taking the image storyboards that you've created, you're now making them have their motion, you create your voiceover, you do your editing, you start your colorization to make sure everything looks the same and it's not jarring because you're creating multiple different images or piecing them together with B-roll and whatever. B-roll is extra footage you get from any type of stock footage site or stock video site. And you piece it all together, and now you have your completed video. That's what I'll be teaching as an introduction lesson, and the corporate one will be a premium lesson. So the music video one is going to be free and available for you to see what it looks like. The corporate one will be premium. This is where I show you exactly what's going on in the corporate world, what you need to look out for, how you can use specific types of websites to be able to optimize your business flow, and then beginning to animate your own stock when you need to, and where to get where your shots from. If you're in a rush and you don't want to just generate everything, I'm going to show you where you can get your stock footage from. Plus, like I said, we've launched our premium tools in our download section. So now I'm working on tools like the Bitcoin, Seasons of Bitcoin that we talked about earlier, where it talks about these pumps and drops that potentially going to happen. I'm working with AI now to be able to build out that ideal and figure it out formatically, come up with like not a formula, but how do we find a correlation to what I've been seeing visually and been calling since 2017. I've been saying Seasons of Bitcoin since 2017. How did I know and catch there was consistent dips in certain ranges? What did I see? Can AI see the same thing that I see? And can we then look to the future to say, hey, these are the spots that we've been seeing it at, even if it's just taking my old spots and regurgitating them back? Can I take my old charts, ingest them, and then have them pull it back out and say, hey, these are the spots that we marked. Let's see if these spots mark again, and can it control its own chart? Things like that we're going to start working into and start testing. So premium, you're going to be getting way more information, way more background behind setting up businesses, way more into handling finances and watching these cyclical technical cycles and getting the insights to those. And that's what the community is about. I'm helping as much as I can give you the tools that you need for your business to be able to succeed with the team that I'm building through our learning center, our TrajicK lab, and or people that are learning from us being able to get access to clients who need the work and can help you facilitate what you need to do design and create your own agency. So we're doing our best to be the most for you. So with that, I want to close this off. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen and check out what we're doing. My recommendation, please go over to TrajicK Hustle. So please go over to TrajicK Labs, labs.TrajicKhustle.com. Go ahead and get access to a labs today. Go ahead and sign up. This will give you access to our free information, our free courses that we have available to you. We have 2 courses already free, hours of information that you can download to your brain and start rethinking how you work in this new digitized and automated / agentic age. And with that, my name is TrajicK Jeffrey. On behalf of TrajicK Hustle and TrajicK Hustle Labs, I want to thank you for your time and attention. I appreciate y'all, fam, for real, and I will see you another day. Peace.